and stay with the
Exactly.
first one. Yeah,
You have no form of consistency.
that's it.
So
That's a whole other.
Yeah.
yeah,
But yeah, starting with what do you want to talk about?
what's the
So is
purpose?
that like is that like what you make that? So when you say what do you want to talk about? I know a lot of people dive straight in, they go straight for the niche. Like
Yeah.
what's your niche? Is that what you mean? Or is there
Um,
room to not be so niche down, but maybe like if I'm here to
yeah.
entertain, maybe I just share entertaining story. Like what do
I
you think
think I
about
think
that?
that's a niche as well. I think everything ends up niche because you gotta find somewhere to go deeper into your
Yeah,
content.
yeah, yeah.
So like you can start more broad, but start in an area and just kind of see how it works, see how it
Mm-hmm.
flows, see how comfortable you are with it. It's a lot of experimentation that you have to go into unless you're in a business and you're gonna
Yeah,
start your show based on
right.
that business or
Which
that
is which is
a niche.
a smart strategy
Yeah,
and a good niche because your business has a target audience
exactly. And
already
so
locked in.
you just build around that already. But
Yep.
if you don't, you just start with something. Start with feels natural.
Yeah,
Start
what
with
feels
what
natural.
you
That's
do
good.
often.
That's really good. That's really good. Because even when I think about entertainment, there are different types of
Yeah,
entertaining podcasts. Like
tons.
true crime is considered entertainment
Yeah.
now. When you look
Wow.
at it, yeah, like true crime podcast is like a form of entertaining podcast. Because,
Mm,
like, of course, you're talking about events that happen, but they're not current events, so it's
yeah.
not news. And what are you gonna do with that information? I'm not gonna use it. It's
Mm,
entertainment. People listen to it because they like it and they
yeah.
enjoy it.
That's an interesting
But
light.
then, like, you talk about educational content, that can be anything from business and entrepreneur, educational stuff, all the way to some of what we're doing right now
Yeah.
about content education. Like, it's a niche, but it's educational, like a
Yeah.
very specific
Area of
topic
within.
within education.
Yeah.
And then, inform, that could go back to like even that business piece of like you're talking to a specific audience about a specific service you may provide.
Mm-hmm.
And all you're discussing is that service, getting more people informed about what you do and how to get locked in
Yep.
to get it done for
Yep.
them, right?
Exactly.
That's like information based.
Yeah.
No, I love that. Like, figure out what it is you want to talk about. And sometimes that could just be like, what are you passionate about? What do you have information that you could share with people about? What do people like to hear you talk
Yeah.
about?
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a really good one.
It's so many like forms to figure that out, but before like anybody can help you with anything, you gotta figure out what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
what's gonna take you to distance. Like
Yeah.
if you don't, yeah, it has to be a thing. Like we can sit here and talk about why we're using this brand of mic over
Exactly.
10 other brands for an hour.
Yep. And why a cardioid mic and not like
Yeah,
a
super cardio. Yeah,
exactly.
or directional. Or,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so like, are you gonna be the person that talks about microphones and breaks down why to use different
Which is
microphones
a
when
whole thing.
a new microphone comes out, why it's good or bad versus such and such?
Like there are whole YouTube channels that just do that.
Exactly. And so you know where to go to.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I need a new mic or I need a mic for such and such.
Mm-hmm.
That's their purpose.
Yep.
They know why they're making their channel, why
Mm-hmm.
they know who's going to come and when they're going to come. And so it's very specific and niche in that structure of saying, hey, this is the thing, this is how deep I'm going to go, and this is why I'm doing it
Yeah.
because I love doing it.
Yeah. So second question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Because I automatically think of like if I know what I'm gonna talk about, the next thing I need to know is my audience.
Yeah.
Because I could talk about
That's good.
microphones, but a microphone I can. Well, I'm not gonna use microphones. It's well, no, I could. I could talk about microphones and all that stuff, but I could be targeting it to a specific audience, to like a podcaster, or I could be targeting it to.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think.
it's a broad range.
It's a broad range of who your audience is, even
Singers,
in that.
speakers,
Boom.
audio technicians. You can
Exactly.
just start. Everybody, you gotta think.
Filmmakers.
There's so many places that microphones are.
Mm-hmm.
And in such industry, you might not have time to think about which microphone I need to get. I'm looking at a wall full of different types of
Right.
microphones and
Right.
brands and different pickup patterns and yeah. So it's like, hey, this is where I need to go to find such information.
Yeah.
But there's somebody making information on that.
Yeah.
So are you going to talk about it and explain to people why they should use this microphone or why they shouldn't in such situation?
Yeah.
Like right now we're using podcast style microphones
Exactly.
instead of shotgun mics.
Precisely.
So
But if we were talking about a documentary,
We use shotgun mics
or
and they
some
be
other
overhead, boom pole.
exactly
Yeah,
boom
we're
like
we're making a
totally
mic podcast
different
right now.
totally different. It's still in the microphone
Industry.
industry,
Yeah,
but totally different audience, right?
exactly.
So how do you propose that people think about like their audience? Like what do you when someone is saying like they want to start a podcast and they want to be talking about X, Y, and Z, what is the next step to going from this is what we talk about and this is who we're talking to? Do you help people kind of define that or do you like how do you deal with that?
So from what we're talking about into who we're
Who we're
talking
talking to,
to,
yeah.
one is going to be back to that root word consistency. You got to keep talking about it over and over again. You have to solidify yourself in the place for people to gain trust in you. If they don't see you doing it, they can't trust that you tell them how or what they should or could do in the thing. So like if you say, "Hey, I got a studio and we move sets around, but 6 months from now the sets are in the same place."
Exactly.
And nothing's changed,
Mm-hmm.
nothing's updated, nothing's
Right.
anything from what it was. I can't trust that
Mm-hmm.
I can come here in another 6 months.
Right.
It's gonna be
And
any
it's
different
gonna be different. Right.
because it's the same as it
Nothing's
was.
different.
If you don't set up for holidays for people to come do photo shoots for, they're not gonna keep coming.
Yep.
So be about the thing that you're talking about, but stay true to it. Because if you're pivoting or rebranding, you can do that. But now you have to
Yep.
completely be in that place.
Yeah. And I think even like using that example, what I'm very adamant about with like going to the audience piece, like, yeah, like people have to trust that what I'm talking about is gonna happen. But even like who I'm talking to.
Yeah.
So like for us, we talk to photographers a whole lot. We started to talk to podcasters a little more. We talk to photographers a lot in our content. And so even that whole like you can move stuff around, well, we need to be showing photographers move stuff around, you know, and not just in our content, but when people book. Like if it's the first time here, like if one of us are here, we let them know, yeah, you can move all of that. Like whatever you need, move it. And if you want to leave it there, leave. You don't have to reset it.
Yeah.
Just leave it, right?
Yeah.
But that's very key to us when choosing that audience. We specifically chose like photographers. We want photographers to use the space, so we need to be talking to photographers about how to move stuff around, where it can go. You be open, like use your creativity. What do you think looks good with your client? You know, so that's huge with just like even that example. But we were also very strategic to say like being consistent in talking about moving it around and showing people to move stuff around, just the whole topic in general.
That's important.
Yeah, it's so important. And also consistently talking to that audience. That's a big piece that I think sometimes we overlook it because it can be a thing where if you're too general, then, you know, if you're talking to everybody, nobody's going to listen.
Exactly.
But when you call out a certain group of people, a certain type of person,
Yep.
then their ears are going to perk up because, oh, you mean me?
Yeah.
So that's huge even with a podcast.
You
like
immediately know when somebody is in your ballpark of information.
exactly.